Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports. Coming up next on CTV, it's the Sports Guys with our good friends Steve, Chuck, and Rod. Don't miss it.
And welcome to Sports Guys for the week of St. Paddy's Day, March 17th, 2025. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons, along with Steve Bainey, Chuck Hiller, Rod Calgren, and we are in March, boys, so we're going to get to some March Madness action.
Madness begins.
Yes, it does. It began yesterday with a stunning, I shouldn't say stunning victory for Michigan over Wisconsin. It was an okay game, but we'll get into that a little later. And we've all looked at our brackets, and we will get into those coming up. We'll all pick our final four coming up in the second half of the show. But real quick, I want to get to some headlines from over the weekend. Michigan won the Big Ten championship. They will play UC San Diego at 10 p.m. on Thursday night, so get your coffee ready. And it gets better. Michigan State will play Bryant at 10 p.m. on Friday night. So you'll take a nap on Friday afternoon, and then you can stay up to watch Michigan State and then sleep through the first few games of Saturday. Before we get into tournament talk, though, like I said, let's get to some headlines. The Wings won yesterday on Sunday, 3-0 against Las Vegas. They're now 3 spots out of the second wild card spot. They need to get to work. They've let it slide for too long.
Were they a 5-game losing?
Yeah, it snapped yesterday, but yeah, they need to get to work. They play the Capitals in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, and then they head to Vegas next Saturday to play the Golden Knights. The Pistons, however, are still in the playoff hunt. They lost to Oklahoma City on Saturday, though, 113-107. They play New Orleans tonight, Monday, and then they head to Miami and Dallas for the rest of the week. In baseball news, the Cubs and the Dodgers are in Japan for an early start to the regular season. They play tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., on Fox. You can see that on Channel 9 here at Alegria Village, if you so choose to get up that early. If not, you watch the highlights later on ESPN, I guess.
They're thinking about using Torkelson in the outfield.
Yeah, I heard he's doing some work, so we'll get into some spring training talk here in a little bit. But before we get to any of that, let's go to Chuck with a wrap-up of our racing news from the weekend.
We had wonderful race out at Las Vegas. Remember, Las Vegas, I have spoken about, is the one place that all of the teams love to go. Not for the race, not for the track, but they get to go to Las Vegas afterwards.
Are you talking about Denny Hamlin?
But anyway, it is a track that is wide at sometimes so wide that one can actually cut off, I would say, a quarter of a mile if you do it that way. And as one would expect, they had accidents for everything. They had wheels falling off of some of our major drivers. Coming around, let's see, that would be number 2 curve in the thing, and they would lose their wheel. And a guy by the name of Barry. Now, Barry may not mean too much to you, but when I was teaching and had kids in the school, Barry was a very common name. And it's nice to have a Barry win in a Ford for, let's see, who is the team?
The Wood Brothers.
The Wood Brothers. And the one wonderful thing about it, Wood Brothers, when the guy gets the flag to go around the track, the team, all the pit guys, all run across the field. And I can tell you, they may be good, strong guys to lift tires, but they sure look funny running around that half mile right across the track with grass deep like that. Their feet were flying and everything, and it was the cutest thing to watch them. But they sure had their drive to get there. It was a wonderful thing. Didn't have too many injuries, just a lot of car injuries at times. And gas. The funniest thing is, Logano was leading. He had maybe a quarter of a track ahead, and his team told him, save gas, go slower. And remember, he's got 40 guys coming up at him,
Right.
and they're telling him to go slowly. Well, it didn't work when he went in to get gas. Everybody went by him, and I guess he wound up 19th or something like that. It was the funniest thing to have. Would be leading like that, and your pit man says, "Go slower, go slower, go slower. You're running out of gas." But that was the fun of yesterday. A wonderful evening, great attendance. You'd think they'd all be in Las Vegas gambling, but they came out, and it was a wonderful time. Wonderful.
How about the F1? We got results for the F1 race?
Yeah, we had F1. Ferrari is still doing well. But Mercedes came in 2 and 5, I think. And they have, by being in second place, Antonelli is the youngest guy to ever win a Formula, to come in that high in a race for Mercedes. So when Mercedes is back into it, and Verstappen is still arguing with Hamilton. They are going back and forth. They're on the same team now, remember.
Oh.
And Ferrari's still got the little problems to work out there. Hamilton is telling the guy in the pit what he's going to do, and the guy in the pit says, you should be doing this. And Hamilton says, no, I'm still learning this. And they're in a race. You shouldn't be learning. You should be driving.
And doesn't the F1 do more testing than any other?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Yes. I just can't believe that Hamilton said, no, I want to try this now. That's maddening. Anyway, that was
So Norris won in a McLaren. Verstappen from Red Bull came in second, and then Russell came in third. In Melbourne, Australia for the F1. We got some golf news. The Players was this weekend.
Exciting golf news. The Players Championship at Ponte Vedra went on this week. The Players Championship is often thought of as the fifth major.
the kickoff of the year. Yeah.
It's got a great group of players, about 140 that start. It's got a $25 million purse, which is larger than even the majors, so that the winner takes home about $4.5 million. It's played on a very difficult course. One, if you'll remember, has the famous 17th hole, which is the hole, the three-par hole with the floating green, as you will, and it was played in some difficult weather. So the combination of everything caused every day was different. There were different players, different leaders, etc. And as it ended up, and the players in some cases are very well known, in other cases they're not well known, as well known, but they're good players. And it turned out that after Sunday, the game was postponed for 4 hours because of thunder and lightning, which gives you an idea of how bad it was. But it turned out that J.J. Spaun, who's 35, he's won 5 tournaments in his career, was leading to begin the last round, and there were a bunch of players following him, one of which was Rory McIlroy. Rory is a favorite and a well-known player. He's won, I think, 47 tournaments, 27 in the PGA, so he's right up there. Well, it turned out that although Rory started 5 strokes behind Spawn, Spawn had a 74 and Rory had a 68 or something, and caught up to him after the delay. So by that time it was so dark you could hardly see, and the game isn't over. If anybody well, if you're listening to this, it's probably already over. But they are Spawn and McIlroy are having a playoff at 9 o'clock Monday morning, and the playoff for the Players Tournament is a 3-hole aggregate total. The holes are 16, 17, and 18. And those are 3 marvelous holes to play off on. Now, if after 3 holes they're tied, then they play 2 holes that they play winner take all, and they start with 17 and 18. If they still don't have a winner, they go back and they start at 16, 17, and 18. Number 14 is considered the toughest hole. On Tuesday, it became, in the first time in about 20 years, that nobody in the tournament birdied 14. It's about 455-yard par 4. There's water on both sides and some difficult rough in between. And it was interesting, if you remember Will Zalatoris, he was a young player a few years ago, but a very popular player. Well, Will was tied for second place at about 11 or 12 under par, came to 14, and ended up taking an 8 on 14. It's the first time he's ever had an 8.
Oh, wow.
It's the first time anybody has shot an 8, and that just blew him out of the running. So poor Will didn't stand much of a chance.
All right.
With the 8.
Well, that wraps up our regular sports, guys. Stick around, though. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with some March Madness, our bracketology, as Steve said. We'll be right back after this here on CTV.
Hello.
12 minutes, 12, 13 minutes. Because that segment was 14, I'm guessing. I can't hear her, what she said.
16.
13 and a half.
Oh, okay, it was 13 and a half? Okay.
Oh. Hey, boy, are you good?
All right.
All right, so let's see here.
Oh, I forgot to say, Tiger isn't going to play in the Masters. He just had an operation on his Achilles.
Yeah, I read that.
He ruptured it. So that's pretty serious. So.
That could do it right there. That could do it right there.
Oh yeah, he may, because they were comparing woods with Bernard Longer,
Oh yeah.
who he tore his Achilles. When you rupture it, you completely sever it.
How long we talk? How long?
Well, just give us a couple more minutes, and then
Oh my gosh.
Steve's got to fill out his bracket.
Okay.
So to tear is one thing, but to rupture means that you've disconnected it totally. Then.
Yeah,
Oh
totally,
my gosh.
totally severed it.
So we're just going to give our final four and our national championship picks. We're not going to go through
Yeah.
each
Right.
because we don't have 2 hours like they did on
No.
CBS yesterday. So
And then they came on with the girls for what, another 2 hours?
mm-hmm.
Wasn't it funny when they announced the teams in the girls? Some would stand up and do dances and so on.
Well, part of that is the delay. So the first few, I watched a little bit of the women's special. The delay between when they took the shot and the girls actually saw their team pop up
Yeah.
was out of whack. So they'd take the shot they'd hold, and it still wouldn't be there, and it still wouldn't. So then they had to give up. So
I
it didn't
noticed
work
that
out,
it was and not the best directed show.
No, that's what happens. ESPN doesn't have the greatest infrastructure either because they do so many games that
Yeah. Well, they can't. No, that's ESPN is still owned by Disney, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Then I wonder why I've lost 70% of my money in Disney.
because ESPN's losing money. That's why they got rid of. That's part of the reason why they got rid of the baseball contract.
Ah,
They're not doing baseball after this year.
B.
So, Major League Baseball is trying to figure out where to put Sunday Night Baseball after this season.
Oh my gosh.
Because I doubt it'll go to Fox because Fox gets such good ratings on their animated stuff on Sunday nights.
All right, how many do we need?
They had a good movie on the other night, Angels in the Outfield.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen
Oh,
that?
yeah,
It's a kind of one of these
I've seen parts of it. I
classics,
haven't. Yeah.
But
Where was it on?
Oh, it was on
Uh,
Turner Classic
Yeah,
Movies
TNT.
or one of those. But
They play it on Major League Baseball Network every once in a while
But
too.
it was fun. The guy being picked up by the Angels and thrown into the wall, or what? His hand went right through the wall, and it comes out with the ball in it. It's amazing. In the 17th hole, there's a little trap right in the front,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the green slopes, and depending upon it, the hole is generally between about 130 and 145 yards, depending upon where the tee is and where they put the pin. But when the pin is down closer to the front, it seems like the players hit the ball closer.
I'll be darned.
They had, the third day the pin was
Way up there.
up on almost in the center of the green, but maybe 5-6 yards toward the rear. And they'd be hitting it at that spot, and for some reason that spot must have been very firm, because it would hit that spot, take a huge bounce, and go over the back into
I
the
love it,
water.
love it, love it.
That's what makes that place so special. Is all
Yeah,
the quirky
it
little.
really is something.
To be a greenskeeper at that place there,
Right.
that's got to be a few $100,000 job then, wouldn't
Oh,
you
yeah.
say? For a place like that?
Oh, sure.
All right. So I wonder now, when do we get to the exciting news about golf?
Well, the
You ready? You
the
got your.
playoff starts at 9 this morning.
Okay, all right.
And,
The exciting stuff is
You
today.
got. You
so
got your
you
national.
can get it.
Put it on
You
set.
got your
We
national.
can get it.
All right, Rod. We're getting ready to start.
Put it on the set.
Do you have your national championship picked out?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And welcome back to Sports Guys. I'm your host, Christian Gibbons, back here with Steve Bainey, Chuck Hiller, Rod Calgren, and it is March, so we are starting our March Madness Bracket Challenge. And we may not be the smartest guys when it comes to bracketology, but we're probably the smartest guys right now in this room. So
Even that's kind of.
Kermit's pretty smart, our camera guy. So we'll get to our final four picks here in just a second. But real quick, Steve, why don't you give us the results from over the weekend for Michigan and Michigan State?
All right, Michigan State actually lost to Wisconsin, and that was on Saturday.
I question that
So-
when you say loss, it shows a loss, but that referee at the end there, that shot when it should have been a penalty. And,
Yeah.
And that one I question.
You know, I'm a homer and everything, but that was mostly ball.
Yeah.
I'll give the referee credit because that was mostly ball.
okay.
You know.
And then, of course, Michigan went on to beat Maryland by 1.
Yeah, it was
With a
great.
fantastic inbounds and raised down the court and put in a layup with 0.1 seconds to go.
I'll tell you.
And then
Remember, somebody's hitting the button there too, and that's what got me.
there you go. So then on Sunday we had Michigan going against Wisconsin, and Michigan won 59-53. So we had Michigan State won the outright title,
And
and
Michigan.
then Michigan won the Big Ten championship title.
And
I don't understand that.
And try to figure
But
that
anyway.
one out.
Yeah, so other news that Auburn lost,
yep.
and so Auburn actually
that
lost
2 out of 3?
four out of their last 5
Oh,
games,
it's a 4 out of 5.
and they're still the number 1 seed.
yeah, you question that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk over the weekend about, especially last night after the Big Ten championship game, that the committee seems like the committee has their seeds and everything figured out Saturday.
Yes, yes.
And then they have contingencies, and even the chairman of the committee, who by the way is the North Carolina athletic director. So gee, tell me why
Somehow
North
North Carolina
Carolina
got
made
in
the
there too,
tournament
you know?
over West Virginia, but that's a whole we don't have 3 hours to go into all the bracketology and all of the numbers that should disagree with that decision. But yeah, Auburn lost. They're still a number 1 seed. Duke is a number 1 seed.
Duke won the ACC.
Houston is also a number 1 seed, along with Florida as a number 1 seed. And really, the only one I disagree with is the Auburn number 1 seed after they, that's kind of a toss-up. I could have seen a scenario where had Michigan State won the outright Big Ten and won the Big Ten championship,
There you go.
they might have moved up to the number 1 seed in the South region. But I do find it interesting because there were so many SEC teams and so many Big Ten teams in the tournament that for some reason Michigan and Michigan State were in the same region for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So they can actually play each other in the Elite Eight. So that if that happens, that's going to be one heck of a game. But I'm going to go through my Final Four, and then I'll give you my national championship prediction, and then we'll go down the line. And hear from the other guys. So for me, I have Michigan State winning the South region and Duke winning the East region. They'll play each other. And then in the West, St. John's and Rick Pitino will play Kentucky out of the Midwest region. And then MSU and Kentucky will duke it out. And Michigan State will win 72-70. That is my national championship prediction. It'll be so. All right, Steve, what do you got?
All right, Final Four. I got Michigan going against Duke. I'm kind of a homer. And then I picked both Maryland and UCLA on the other side. And I'm figuring Michigan to win.
All right, Michigan with the championship for Steve. Chuck, what do you got for me?
I've got Illinois going against Drake.
All righty, for the national championship.
Yeah. But the other two teams were Marquette and Duke.
So is it Marquette or Duke moving on,
You got to go in here.
or Drake and?
Final
I had
Four.
Illinois, yeah.
And then, who wins there goes here and there.
Okay, this goes against here, right?
Right.
Yep.
Drake goes and Duke against Illinois, right?
Yep.
Okay, and I got Illinois.
All
There you
right.
go.
So major upset in the Final Four, but Illinois takes the cakes for
Yes,
Chuck.
because of what have I said before.
Jersey color.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
I think you've got to find some upsets in these things. I mean,
Good luck with that.
You're going to pick them based on what they've been seeded or whatever. It seems like it never works out. I picked Auburn to win the South. I guess I'd missed all the losses, but I do think in spite of that, Auburn has the experience of being number one and might be so ticked off at having lost a few
Oh, yeah.
that they may be a tough opponent in some of those
I have
games.
to agree there.
And in the East, I've got Alabama. They're used to winning in a lot of sports, and who knows? They're going to upset Duke.
All right.
And I've got Maryland in the West, and Maryland's going to play Auburn, and Auburn's going to beat Maryland.
All right.
And in the Midwest, I've got Tennessee. And Tennessee always seems to be right on the edge there of really doing something.
In football and basketball this last few years. In football and basketball the last few
so
years.
Tennessee's going to play Alabama and win, and they're going to play Auburn and they're going to win, and Tennessee's going to be the champion.
So an all SEC national title game for Rod. So we talked before the show. There have only been 2 16 seeds to ever beat a number 1, and they've happened in the last decade. So the trivia question is, can any of you name the 2 teams that have beaten number 1 seeds?
Oh, no.
I remember
Was it
what
the
had
one-
happened, but I'd be darned if I
We
can.
will get the answer in just a minute, but before we do, I just want to get real quick. We want to do a bracket challenge for the entire village. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out some brackets. I'm going to leave them in each clubhouse by where you get the Pioneer and the activity calendar. I want you to fill them out and then find the Resident Life mailbox in either Great Lakes or St. Clair. Fold up your bracket, put your name on, make sure you put your name on it. And on the next Sports Guys, we will update who is leading, who has some wins, who has some losses. And then after the Sports Guys episode, after the national championship game, we will find out who the winner is, and we will hopefully feature the winner here on Sports Guys. We'll bring them in,
Perfect.
and we
Good.
will come up with some kind of prize. But the prize is hanging out with us for a Monday morning. So see our smiling faces in person, and get your debut on Sports Talk. So make sure you stop by either clubhouse over where you get the Pioneer or the activity calendar. Pick up a bracket, fill it out, turn it in, and you can come and hang out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, Rod's pick is pretty good. 'Cause,
Rod's,
out of-
there's a lot of surprises in Rod's.
Yeah, the SEC has got 14
Yeah, that's
out of 16
That's a
teams.
new record by, I think they said on CBS last night. That's a new record by
Well,
like 3 or 4.
These
Yeah, because the Big
games
Ten
are
has got
meant,
8.
records are meant to be broken.
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, like I say, a lot of stuff going on.
And speaking of records, the 2 teams that were upsets in this round, in the first round over number 1 seeds. Any guesses?
Oh, yeah.
It was the university. They brought in like that 100-year-old nun who sat
No.
up.
No. You
Yeah.
would think, but it wasn't. They were not a number 1 seed. They were a number 4 seed, I think.
Okay, okay.
No. In 2018, it was the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The University of Maryland, Baltimore County beat, I forget who, but it was the first time a 16 had ever beat a number 1 seed, and that was an incredible game to watch. They led, I think, almost the entire second half.
Oh,
They were
my.
lights out at the free throw line. It was an incredible game. And then just a few years ago, 2023, Fairleigh Dickinson.
Oh, fairly good.
Never heard of them, right?
Yeah.
Fairleigh
No, I've heard of
Dickinson.
them. They're in the East.
Not much.
Yeah, no. They're no Duke.
Ah.
Fairleigh Dickinson won in 2023, and I think they might have won their second round match as well.
Oh.
So it can happen. It's only happened twice. It's only happened twice since they've expanded to 64 teams.
There you go.
So the madness all begins Tuesday, 6 o'clock on True TV. I'll do my best. Can't promise anything. I'll do my best to have the games on in Windows Cafe in case you don't get True TV here. And then Thursday afternoon, noon, the madness fully begins. So if you can take the day off Thursday, sit in front of your couch, get some snacks. If not, I'll have a quad box going on in the afternoon in Windows Cafe, so you
good,
can watch
good.
all the games at once. And they call it madness. It is madness.
There you go.
So we are looking forward to all of that, guys. We will check in on our brackets
Good.
next week. And we hope to check on your brackets as well. So like I
We haven't
said,
even got to the ladies.
no, we'll get to the ladies next week.
There you go.
We'll take some time to look at women's basketball next week. So for Steve Bene, Chuck Hiller, Rod Calgren, who is an SEC fiend, we'll see how he does in his bracket. We will see you all next week. Enjoy the madness. I'm Christian Gibbons for CTV and Sports Guys. We'll see you next week.
Have a good
Hi, everybody. I'm Pete Krupski, the voice of USA Hockey's National Team Development Program. You're watching CTV Sports.